What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lowe Down on the Floor, your official recap, behind the scenes, and banter-packed breakdown of the most intense game show in the underground world of trivia warfare, The Floor. I'm Zack, holding it down as always, and today's episode is a wild one.
And that's right, because when the ghosts come out and the nerds start flexing, it only means one thing, a new episode of Chaos. And in this one, our guy, Shane, came back with the crown, 20K deep, and his eyes were on one person.
Yeah. Shane said it loud and clear. He said he didn't want just another category. He wanted Devin. He was going to go to road trip so he could get to where he is on most of his days, the bodies of water. So let's jump right into it and see how that worked out. But let's just say the road trip had an abrupt ending. So Devin, let's talk us through it here because you and Shane, front and center. Let's go.
I'll let Shane talk to the rationale of it all, of what he was thinking after episode 8. You got the money, you did it for your fam, and now you had a big decision to make. Walk us through your decision-making process.
Can I say one thing before Shane goes? One thing, real quick. For anybody out there, my thoughts going into this, and I'm going to let Shane do it because if you don't know, Shane was not feeling his best. You could tell on there he was struggling through there. So Shane, I don't know if that played a role into what you're going to say or not, but if it didn't, you should at least let people know because it was evident that you were under the weather.
Yeah, it's crazy, Devin, because I've been hearing you talk a lot on social media. And what's funny about this podcast is that you'd think that the heavyweight fight, you'd put it at the end of the show, and then here we are going head to head right now. So I saw you say on Reddit some crazy things about how I got my butt whooped. But then what's funny is you and I were on the exact same taxi ride to the airport.
Yep. Yes, we were.
You also got your butt whooped.
Yes, I did. But walk us through the rationale. Walk us through it, Shane. It's your time to shine.
Yeah. So when everything was happening, and viewers at home, it feels like we have a ton of time in between things, but we really didn't. And after I had won that episode, they whisked me away to go do interview stuff, and I got no time to strategize, study, whatever. And it was just I felt like I got thrown back into the show and I had no idea what I was going to do. I had literally 5 minutes to plan, and I had been studying road trips and bodies of water so much just because that was sort of where I figured I would end up. And then in episode 8, there was that big surprise where all of a sudden Mike is holding physics. And after I saw Mike struggle with long underwear for, 22 seconds, I was and looking back, he did play well, but that was I saw that and I was okay, he's someone that I could beat. And so when all of a sudden he had the key to $20,000, I was this is my path now. And it all opened up when I got challenged. So then after that, I was what do I do? I need a time boost to have any chance of staying safe now that I have it. And is Eric on the show today, or he didn't make it?
No, he couldn't make it again. He couldn't make it again.
Man. So looking back, I wish that I saw Eric with travel accessories because that would have been a really good option. And of course, you never know, but that's in my head constantly, what if I would have done that? And I'm sure you guys have your what ifs about the show also. But yeah, so I had just been studying those two a lot, and I figured that was my chance. And we were close. I had you for a second, and then just there was a few too many things that I just didn't know at all. And yeah, I couldn't get back.
And to be fair, Shane, watching back at what you had, when I was looking through the side eye and I saw you pass on Steak and Shake, and I was oh, I have him. Because I was that seemed like the gimme, and you didn't get that one. But we also have to say, road trips has to be in the top 5 hardest categories that's been shown at this point.
It has wild things on it.
And so even online, it was like, what is this? Fast food restaurants and landmarks? What are we doing here
Yeah.
with this wide range of knowledge?
There's a lot of hard categories that episode, just in general.
Let's put it on there. So you coming up there, when we first got our places on the floor, I noticed that in front of me is bodies of water. Behind me is oceanography. And I said to myself, oh, I see what you're trying to do here. But it's not going to happen, producers. It's not going to happen if I have anything to say about it, if I have anything to do with it. Because I think what America doesn't know, they try to strategically place people so that good battles can happen. No one wants to see a dud of a duel on the floor. And so they try to set us up in that way. And so with that being said, was your path always trying to get back to bodies of water at some point in time, and I just happened to be an obstacle in your way?
It's hard to say because like really the first few episodes I saw anatomy and I was just like, that's it. And I only studied anatomy because then I was kind of like, there's only two ways that I have to play. I only have to play my category or one of these four around me. And then Tony with anatomy was just a giant wall, obviously. And so then it was sort of like, which way do I go from here? So as soon as Tony had anatomy, my only option then was to study your category. So I started studying it as soon as Tony had anatomy, which is a while, right? And like critters to me was going to be like a 50-50 of who's fastest. And I really thought that I'd be able to study road trips well enough. And yeah, like you said, it was one of the hardest. And you know, how would I study like fast food restaurants? And because it should be common knowledge for Americans, like you probably would have got Steak and Shake right away. I think I saw Steak and Shake like one time, maybe 15 years ago, and that was it.
So for those that don't know, it's because why? Shane, look at the background there. Shane lives in Hawaii. So
and I grew up in California, so I don't think we even have them there.
So anybody who feels like, oh man, Shane had it this, that, he lives in Hawaii, he has $20,000, and he has millions of followers on social media. So let's not start feeling so bad for Shane. And maybe Shane will plug us in return and we'll get more than a couple hundred. So but Shane, yeah, you have one thing that nobody else on the show has right now.
Sunlight.
So that, good weather. Yeah, what time it is there, but also in the bank right now, he has 20K. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
Great job.
So I'll say, was it a one-sided rivalry between you and I? Was I just an obstacle, or was the beef semi-mutual? Since we're here, let's address it.
I enjoyed the like fun beef, but then I feel like it reads differently on social media. So like when you're like, he got whooped, and then also when you did your dance after beating me, I was like, bro, you won one duel and you're dancing? Are you kidding me?
I don't remember.
And I know it's like
live.
You know, you win all the territory, and so that's exciting. But just like watching it back, and you're dancing, and they cut it short, but I'm standing there like this. I'm like, this guy's dancing because he got me because I got. Oh my god, yeah. So I love the banter and everything, but then yeah, I thought you were going too far on social media. I'm not actually offended, but I thought it was funny.
I don't know what was more cringy. Devin's dance at the word the kids are using these days. Cringy. Devin's dance at the end where he's almost Carlton into it, like in the thing, or when Shane's walking up there acting like a fish or a band member or something like that. I was like, oh god. I was like, he walking up marching up there like he's in a band. I'm like, guess when we're on TV we'll do these things, but you know.
So to be fair, Shane,
good for television.
I'll give you my rationale because I did not mean to dance. That happened spontaneously in the situation.
I lost all feeling of my body.
Yeah, I'm being honest about it. And so we cut from episode 8. I'm like, he has nerdy characters. So of course I'm studying nerdy characters. And I'm like, I already done the probabilities of all the territories that's touching yours. And I was like, I'm going to play this episode most likely. And so what I want to happen is Shane go back to the floor. It may go to someone touching that territory, might not. And then when it happens, he might win, he might whatever. And then I'll just go that way. Maybe by episode 4, not episode 4, duel 4, me and Shane finally have our head to head after all this whatever. And so when I barely listened to your speech, but when I heard road trip, I'm like, I don't know if you see my expression. I go, no, he's ruined my plans and he screwed me bigly. He has screwed me. He has put me over the barrel, and he has given me one more parting gift before being on a 9 duel day. And either he's going to be the well or I'm going to be the well. And this is not where I want to be at all. And so, so to go through it, it was like the release of all these other things going on of studying. We've been up for a while. We've been doing all these kind of things. I want to play. I haven't got to play. Shane got 20K. I want 20K, everything like that. And then to finally get up on my category and then make up over the stumble. I know Santa Monica Pier. I've been to Santa Monica Pier. I've taken 2 ex-girlfriends on Santa Monica Pier. I don't know why my brain was like, nah, that's Marina Del Rey. I'm like, I don't know why my brain said so to like recover from the fumble of it all. I was like, whew. Because I gave you the pound first. I was like, my man, give me the pound. And then I started dancing. I don't know. They cut and then I was dancing. And I apologize because even I text a group. It's like, do I look like this for the kids, like a butthole? I don't mean to look like a butthole, but it kind of seems like I look like a butthole right now.
I mean, that dance made all the promotional videos. So
they loved it.
TV loved it.
And they put your dance with the audio, 5 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And so looking back at it, yes, you could have done travel accessories, and we're going to go into the episode. I, in retrospect, should have chose change makers. So let's actually go to the episode and we could talk about what surprised us, shocked us. I go against Eric, travel accessories, which I knew was going to be a time duel. I knew it was going to be speed. I either know it or I don't know it. And apparently I don't know things to protect me because I didn't know that lock to lock my door with. I don't need it. If you can come in my room, let's throw hands. Did any of y'all know that? No, nobody. So I guess it's not a man thing that we actually like purchase for our travels. So I lose by 5 seconds. Fair. Time boost could have helped me slightly, even though I'm in a big argument that tote bag and beach bag could be the same thing to let me slide. Some people feel me on that. And then he goes on this tear. 3 in a row, goes back to the floor to get the boost. We see Andrew and oh my goodness, I need to write people's names down.
Kevin?
Yeah, Andrew
Penny?
and Kevin go in puppets. It was way more Muppets than I thought it would be. And then we get the Anthony. Why'd you go against the big dog? What's up with that?
So, because I thought about it. And so this is the story, right? So I go to a week or 2 before I was in Colombia, right? I promise you this is relevant. So I was attending for a friend's wedding, and the friend of the bride's husband was a pilot, right? And so I was telling everybody that I was on the floor of the trivia game show, and he was like, "Hey man, I've been, I'm a pilot. I've been doing this for years. If you need any information on here, let me know." So I texted him. He sent me these 2 different manuals of things having to do with aviation and piloting. So I was like, all right, studying it, right? And so fast forward, I'm on the floor. I look over and Brian gets aviation. I feel like this is my destiny. I was like, no way, this is it. This is my bag, right? And so it was that. And then so at that point, I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I called my wife. I was like, I got aviation. And so then she was so I felt like that was it. It was just my thing to take him. And then I knew that Lisa was really she really owned a wedding chapel. It wasn't like she was just lying to be strategic. So I was like that or The Crown. I don't know. I don't know too much. I watched that TV show once. So
seems like a no-brainer right now.
Seemed like a no-brainer.
Did anything shock you during your duel at all?
Yeah, like I felt like he was getting the easy ones. And when I was like, you know what? I saw a picture and I was like, I didn't study that. I'm like, I don't know what it was. So we had a watch party, I think a day or two ago. And there was one of them was a windsock. I still don't know what a windsock is. I was like, oh
Wind
man,
direction.
and then he gets like a captain's hat. I was like, come on, man. It just seemed like the challengers were getting the harder questions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what it just seemed like to me.
I think that goes back a little bit to what Shane was talking about before, though. It is such a geographic kind of game. Windsocks are all over around here in Ohio because it's flat as hell, and they're everywhere, and you know which way it's going. But I wouldn't know an in and out if I saw a thing without the in and out on. I've never been to an in and out. But Steak and Shake everywhere. So I think part of that plays into that vast trivia knowledge studying and they don't know where you're from and what it is, but I think it's a little bit of everything. So there were some things on there, but again, yeah, I think there's some duels where you look at you wonder, are there two separate slides, one for this person and one for this person, or is it one? And if you pass, it goes to the next one, no matter what person it is, and that's unknown. That's an unknown thing. So
I play that in my head all the time. So I think back to road trips. Let's say I actually say Santa Monica Pier, and then Shane gets the first McDonald's as his next thing. And if things were reversed, would that have changed the trajectory? Because my mom watched the duel, and so she was like, yeah, we got a picture of the Painted Desert. We've been to the Four Corners. We've been like everything that was on my side. I was like, I actually physically had been there. I'm like, oh, I didn't even have to study this. Yes, it's serendipity.
Shane, have you been to Cadillac Ranch?
No, but what's so annoying is I've been to Venice Beach Boardwalk before plenty of times, and I said Venice so fast, and then I couldn't believe that it didn't go. And so I was like stunned for like 2 seconds, and then I was like, oh my God, they want me to say the whole thing, like thinking quickly, And I'm like, Venice Beach Boardwalk. And I'm like, bruh, like I knew that. Nobody would say that. You just say Venice.
Or you just say eggs, not deviled eggs.
Right.
Right. I mean, we have to get that in every episode for Zack.
Can we segue? Because we do have to talk this as a panel. It was a duel that neither one of us were a part of. Do you think it was acceptable to accept Doc for Doc Brown as a nerdy character? And they gave it to him. They gave it to him.
That's my issue. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I felt like sometimes they would say first or last name, but I don't think those instructions were given for that duel. And so I feel like Doc could be Doc, Doctor. Like it's Doc Brown is like the character. I just felt like that was.
I feel like in the movie. Go ahead, Shane.
I would argue the opposit. I think Marty calls him Doc all the time.
That's what I was going to say.
Doc.
I was going to say.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, Doc, that's heavy.
Fair.
Like that's what it is. He doesn't really call him Doc Brown. Other people call him Doc Brown. I think what we don't know on that is what was explained. Unless one of you were in it, what was explained in the rules before going up? I mean, even in mine, when it was MVPs, it was like you need first and last names unless it's an only one. Like it would have been a Pele or a LeBron. I don't know if you would have had to say James. If you would have said LeBron, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you would have just said the last name James, I don't think they would have gave it to him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But if I said Russell for Bill Russell, I could have said Russell, and I think they would have gave it to him if I just said Russell. Like we said, we were all kind of briefed on that there's plenty of answers, and if you see a water fountain, it's called a drinking fountain in Ohio. In Wisconsin, it's called a bubbler. What are they going to call it? I mean,
yeah.
So I think I think what people don't realize is a lot of answers would have been counted correctly. in
That's
some.
crazy
Different
because
role.
in Hawaii we call Steak and Shake Wingstop actually.
Isn't there a Wingstop?
He trying to
There
make
is
fetch
Wingstop.
happen. I see you.
Yeah, it was pretty inconsistent. Like there were times when you could say you had to say the whole thing, and sometimes you can get it. So it was a little bit all over the
One and
place.
here's
Yeah.
one in physics. I said radiation detector, which is wrong. It's called a Geiger counter.
Yeah.
No one would say radiation detector, and so I was like stuck because I couldn't think of the right name, and so I was just like, I'll just describe it and see if they take it, and then they
Ding.
did, and then I was like, okay, and then 2 seconds later I'm like, oh yeah, Geiger counter, and then but I'm like, oh, that's fine, and then they had to put it in the show.
Yeah, they have to change it.
But
It's they do that a couple of times because I don't think travel bag should have been correct for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like a carry-on, yes. A travel bag, no. But they already dinged it, and now that's what the name of that particular.
So you said travel bag for a carry-on, and they took it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
they
funny.
did.
I think we've all had that though, because I remember like Louisville for me was just the picture of the bridge, and I was like, Shane, I'm going to describe it. It's a bridge, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, pass.
And that's where some of those can be very confusing, where they're multiple, like a duel that has both. Like Zach, yours definitely did the Kentucky Derby. You can't say horse track when it's Churchill Downs.
Yeah.
But mine, when it's names or people, or like Cadillac Ranch, you couldn't have said car graveyard. Even though it's that, but like, so I think some of them are, but when it's a mixed one like Zach had, it's hard to know because Brian, like we talked last episode, Brian had it figured out. Whatever you see up on the screen, radiation detector, say it, and it might count. And
Yeah.
it might count and go through there. But you guys mentioned something earlier that I want to talk about. You were in the taxi to the airport together. What was the conversation? Can you guys share with us the conversation?
If there even was conversation.
Post conversation was there together for a while.
Okay. Well, so how did the car ride go? I mean, talk us through the car ride.
I'll let you go, Shane.
Yeah.
This is what people want to know.
It was kind of like that meme where they're in the gallows and then he's looking over and he's like, first time. Not exactly, but just that feeling of like, yeah, we're in this together. We both got knocked out. And I saw Devin as a worthy opponent the entire time. And something that he forgot to say is part of why he had it out for me was that we had the opportunity to volunteer. I put my hand up and then I backed down because of like my rule set that I had with my girlfriend was like, always go back down so that then you last until the end of the show. Mm-hmm. And so volunteering would be completely the opposite of that, And so because I had volunteered and then backed down when they were actually counting who volunteered, I knew that Devin at least didn't like, not that he didn't like me, but he wanted to beat me. And so the sound clip was him saying that, I think, in the show. Yeah. Was when he's like, you had the chance to go up and you back down. And so I want to take him out or whatever it was. And so I thought that we had a great duel. I thought that it was fun to play. And then so afterwards seeing him, it was like, I don't know, no big deal. Like it's a game. It's not like I'm upset about anything. Plus I won 20 grand and he didn't.
Right. Well, so your rule with your girlfriend is always go back down, but that's not what you did. When she won the 20K, was that a different rule?
Well, it's just because I saw the opportunity, and we just got to watch episode 8 last night. We'll watch 9 tonight, and as we were watching it, she's like, "See, you could have gone back down. You didn't have to play." And the whole time while it was happening, I'm thinking like, I'm in the middle of the floor. It's all singles next to me. Like I'm going to get played eventually, and I'm going to keep having to get played, and then like. The game is so much harder from here, and I could get 20K right now and go home. And like Terry was saying earlier, like I was sick. I was probably like the sickest one there, and I was like barely hanging on sometimes. And like could barely get through nights because I couldn't sleep because I couldn't breathe. And it definitely wasn't COVID. I didn't give anyone COVID. Stop accusing me of giving everyone COVID. Okay, it wasn't me. I never tested positive, so not my fault.
Yeah, Hawaii's the least COVID place in the United States. It was for a long time. So
Yeah.
I know you can't travel,
but yeah, so I wanted to get out and like get 20 grand on the way, you know? So that was, it was like my exit strategy.
Shane,
And
you
so
said,
my
ahead,
car ride, so I'm thinking to myself, like, hey, I I felt so it was weird. I get out on the tote bag and I think they cut it out, but I distinctly remember Rob saying tote bag in my ear. Came back, you know how he says his little thing, the last thing that was on the screen.
Tote bag.
Yeah. And I was like, Rob, I don't talk to me right now. Cause you know, this is my shifter robe in my mind. This is my shifter robe. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and the only time we really use tote bags is when we go to the beach. And that's my beach bag. Give me my ding so I can see what Eric would have had to see if I had it shot. So it was 5 seconds. And so they ushered me to the back and they asked me one of those questions that you don't want to hear, like if you ever get fired or whatever. How do you feel? I'm like, don't ask me about my feelings right now. I just lost an opportunity for $250,000. Like, please give me a second, ma'am. And so they're trying to talk to me, like get me ready for the interviews. And so I get back and I'm like, oh, Shane's still here. And it was like, yeah, we got a cab for y'all. Do you want to get ready to go? And I was like, sure. How are you feeling, Shane? Are you okay? Because I see you coughing over there. Is this going to be a safe trip for me as well in this car ride? And he's like, I'm good. I tested. I was like, all right, let's hop in this car. Let's get there. And so Shane is like, you know, of course he has a 20K in his pocket. And I was like, all I could think the car ride is like, he doesn't know how long my mission has shifted since like episode 4, that the only things I started studying was billionaires and whatever Shane was on. At that point, that's the only things I was studying. I'm like, oh, he on parades? Let's study parades. Oh, what's that over there? Some physics? Let's do some physics. I teach science. I could do this. But I do say this. You had impressed me with your vast knowledge of the things that you've done. Because up to this point, you and Eric and Brian have done the most duels, I think, collectively. And maybe Mike. Because Mike surprisingly did a whole bunch of duels as well. Yeah. And so to last in all those different subject matters, I can't say that you weren't someone to be feared. But at that point in the episode, in the season, I was like, what is he on? What will he have? Let's study those things because it's time. It's time. And I didn't want to mess with the crown. I didn't know anything about haunted places. But it's 10 minutes left in the episode. And I'm actually happy to have this conversation with Shane. And yes, I will continue to. Well, I guess our beef is over because the episodes are done. No need to talk mess online anymore.
Bury the beef here.
One more thing. He said there was some Reddit calling out, and I think Devin, you've made it pretty well known your name on Reddit. Shane, what's the name on Reddit?
Here, let me check.
We're like inquiring minds want to know. I feel like you're kind of a land water kind of guy, maybe amphibious at some points. I don't even know.
I think it's like my name, but spelled with numbers or something.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So it's getting to that point.
I was giving you a hard time.
Yeah. So Anthony, I want you to give me your highlights, your lowlights, your MVPs, and something that surprised you about this episode.
Okay. Highlights were there's so many highlights. All right. So I guess the highlights of this particular episode was just having that experience of just seeing you guys duel, then Eric's epic his streak was amazing. That was my highlights. Lowlights was walking back after losing. And then just seeing everybody like looking at me like like, and having to come back and then having to go back and have a real aggressive conversation about, Brian. I'm like, but bro, I just lost, man. I don't even have a second to grieve my demise. So MVP, it's funny. I was thinking about it, and I really felt like Megan. I think that Megan was somebody who was just like killing it and didn't, people just kind of slept on her. You know what I mean? Like,
can you not mention that name? I'm still having nightmares.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I forgot the fourth thing that you asked me. I remember
Any surprises? Anything that surprised you?
What surprised me? What surprised me? Thinking that I was remembering the theme in my head for a week. Every time I went to sleep, I woke up, everything was da-da-da-da, like I would be making coffee and all of a sudden, somebody would call me and I'd be like, da-da-da. So that kind of surprised me, that level of thing. But I also just the fact that I would just meet so many cool people and just have this. I mean, this is something that I'll always have. So I think that just meeting people and having this much fun, I thought it was going to be over. Like the chat would just be over as soon as we got back from the plane, back home. So I was really surprised that we're still writing. I'm in like four different floor chats, like all the time. So I think that's kind of cool.
I'm in one.
Dane, what about you? What's your highlight, lowlights, MVPs so far?
My highlight was just getting to play. I thought it was a lot of fun, like really great show and fun to be on, and like all the studying and like the friends that we had while we were in the study room, and then arch nemesis when we get out on the floor. I thought that was just so cool. Low light was not having time in between episodes, like because they were having me film. That like just really made it hard for me to play, and I was like so anxious in between about like if I was making the right decision and all that. MVP is for me is always going to be Tony. Like I think Tony is all the way to the top. She's like in a great position on the floor, time boost, like super smart girl. Like we've seen her play so fast. Like I would be afraid of her in any category. Last one, please remind me.
Any surprises? You might have already said it.
Oh yeah. Nothing surprised me besides
that dance.
Steak and shake.
Steak and shake. So, Zack, Terry, y'all got to see your boy's demise. I know I almost shared a thug tear when Zack went away. How'd you feel, Terry, seeing me leave?
I felt personally, I was like, it's going to get a lot quieter behind me. It's going to be a lot quieter. But no, even anybody else, like right away, from the very first duel, I felt that when Jamila, she was also from Ohio, like, and I was having talking to her and stuff, and then she's gone right away. Well, you and I were a lot longer than that and got to know each other, studied together. So it was like, I'm going to be alone at this table in the green room. So it was a sad moment for me, but also it's one of those things where when that category went off the board, I studied it. I still have my Route 66 travel things right here.
Yeah.
I studied it, but I'm glad I didn't have to play it. That's perfect. That's a $20,000 smile right there.
Yeah.
So,
and I left the binder for him, Zack. I left the binder right on the table for him to see.
Devin, this is who you took $20,000 from, by the way.
I didn't take $20,000.
No.
Let me go grab my collar out of the bag real quick.
We'll have a kids episode. Yeah.
And I gave it to you. I was like, you did it for your kids.
So, and that's the other thing. Now, from this point forward, of us three that have been doing the I'm the only one left.
Yeah,
you're a Highlander.
Oh, so Zack, here's my low light.
Only one.
Yeah. So Zack, here's my low light, and we'll wrap it up. And I know you didn't get to do your low light, but when I went to the I went to the exit hotel, I would text Terry and like da 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 da. He wouldn't text me back. I was like, oh, this son of a gun.
You know I didn't have my phone. You know we didn't have our phones in there.
No, I waited till like 11 o'clock that night.
You know I'm
You,
sleeping.
you know I'm sleeping. But go ahead. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I'll save my thing for part two. But no, it was fun, and I appreciate the binder that my wife made so many people happy. Happy birthday! But well, let's wrap this thing up. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you got questions, theories, or if you just want to know why Terry is so scary. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to email us your hot takes at the lowdownonthefloor@gmail.com. We want your questions, your duel ideas, and your favorite floor moments.
And if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, do that thing. And until next time, stay dangerous, stay nerdy, stay off my category, and answer Devin's text. That's all we got.